All right. Today is a little bit different than what I was expecting. Love it when that happens. Anyways, though, hello everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the day. It's Wednesday. Oh, how we love Wednesdays here. Thank you, Punji. Thanks for the hydration reminders. Hope you're all having a good day. I was until I tried to interface with Star Citizen. Of course, if you ever want to do something and Star Citizen is required, always plan a couple extra hours, or in terms of development, a couple extra years. And I didn't do that today. I tried to download the PTU a few hours ago, left my computer, came back, failed to download, tried it again, downloaded, and then I came here to get the stream started at like 4:30-ish to start at 5, and it was like, hey, we're downloading again, 73 gigabytes, good luck. So I am currently at about halfway to downloading the PTU. So no PTU for me today, no Corsair. But oh well, there's more fun stuff to talk about. As always, we're gonna look into some development stuff today. We're gonna look at past updates, past ships, the rate at which they were being introduced, how significant they were, how does it compare to now, and get a kind of a gauge on what's going on with Star Citizen's development. Has it actually accelerated or not? Tide, thank you for starting us off with a few gifted memberships. Gifting one out to Mrs. Tomato, how lucky. Thank you, Tide, I appreciate that. Big Lou, good morning. Conrad, good to see you. Drop a prayer for some better bandwidth. That's probably where it's all going. They're over there playing some LAN party, probably some COD. Gravity Cat, you getting into the Daymar rally? Good to see. Punjitos gang, I see you. Of course, with your hydration reminders. Of course you're here. Hey, Space Cadet, how you doing? Mimoon, good to see you. A-Streamer, I'm doing well, thank you. 07 Sketo. Title's answer is no, we can just leave. We're just having some good hellos, and that's how you want to start off your chat. Dirk Heiser, hello. Compliments from Portugal. Thanks, Portugal. Love ya. Pyro. Prio Alt. Good to see ya. Best to aim towards a goal in SC rather than expect to do something. Right.
There he is!
Yeah, imagine trying to just start the game up. Official Nino, thank you so much for dropping in with the love. Appreciate you. P-Bond 07's, buddy. Don't worry, PTU dropped for you while you were sleeping. Guess so now you gotta wait till after work to even start the download. Yeah, I don't even know when I'm gonna be able to play now. It's nighttime here. I'm not gonna be able to finish the PTU download by the time I'm done here. And we've got a flight in a few days, so I have to start packing up. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to shoot any videos with that ship, but we'll shoot for it tomorrow, see what happens. Am I in Turkey? I am. It's not why I can't join PTU. Usually it's working, but today the Star Citizen to me. Revo, good to see you. Hello to Japan, Tanuki. Welcome. Good morning, Cosmo. Good to see you. Bob, hello. Bob Roberts. Been a minute since you've been in the garden. Welcome. Pick a patch, sit down, get your pants a little dirty. It's the garden. Nerdy 007's, buddy. And we got a sub from Orange Joe. Thanks for the sub starting us off today. Clean and fun. I appreciate it. Thank you. Did I see the racing tracks? Yes, I did. Put a video out about them. Very excited for that. This is an announcement. You may have seen the leak about the Galaxy. I'm afraid that ship shall not be created. Let it be known, it will not. Hey Feathers, how you doing? Squirrel Lords Gaming, Squirrel Lord. Good afternoon, Shadow Spectre. Yeah, Cotton. Corsair's looking cool. Too bad I have no no access to it right now. But as I said, today's topic is development stuff. So, common question is, what the heck is going on with Star Citizen? Of course, it's a common question. It's like a question that's asked with every single game, ever, in all of history. But like, since Star Citizen takes so long, you can ask that question at any time, and it's always the same answer. Oh, it's developing. Oh, they're working on this. Oh, they're working on that. and it's hard to contextualize if they're actually doing stuff or not, unless you're playing the game. Now, obviously, even if you're not playing the game, you can see that they're putting out new updates. They are talking about new features. They're releasing new ships, as we see the Corsair coming into the game today. So like, they're doing stuff, but I kind of wanted to just chill with you guys today, sit back for just a couple of hours and actually look at how they've released stuff over the last 5 or so years. We'll say 4 years, since 2018, since 3.0 dropped, and see if they've actually gotten to start doing stuff more significant for us. Now, the thing is, that's going to rely on all of us. It's subjective how big a deal a feature or a ship is. So we're going to be going back and forth. Hey, that was me. I did it, not mods. Come on now. Give me my credit. Banning porn. So I'm going to be talking with you, and I want to hear from you what you think is a big deal in each of these patches that we go over in terms of features, and I'll write them down, and we'll see how have these updates stacked up in terms of actual significant features being added. And then we'll do the same thing for the ships. I've got all the concept ships here. We've got, this has been made by Ludwig, I believe is the name, on Reddit, which is kind of weird because it looks at when the ships were first talked about rather than when they were released as a concept. So we'll kind of use this, we'll use this, and we'll use this. These are all posts from different Reddit users to kind of go over how they've been releasing ships at which rate and what those ships do. And together, I would like to answer with you, at least to some extent, if they've actually been accelerating or not. Like I said, it's only going to be a couple hours because the stream was so late today. So we won't get like some super in-depth answer to all of this, but you know, I think some discussion, a little bit of graphics, a couple sips of water, and we'll have something to go off of. Just a quick hello from Ken. Hope you have a good stream and looking forward to getting in the Corsair at IAE. Waiting for last day for hopefully a CCU on LTI. Best of luck to you. Thanks for hopping in though. You want alien rescue missions, like rescue missions from Alien? Huh. Dogfighting with aliens? You want to rescue aliens or dogfight with them? It is nice to relax and chat. It is. Hey Safin, I do know about Starfield. Fighting with aliens. Okay, fair. Not rescuing the aliens, I see you. All right, so I put up a poll and I wanted to ask you all during this little intro that we're doing. Oh, Nidlock, thank you for the Prime sub. Amazon Prime out to support, I appreciate that. Wanted to get your opinions on what we should look at first, feature or ship development, and it looks like so far on both YouTube and Twitch, you guys are voting for feature development first. If you are in the stream and you haven't voted, feel free to. They are on either of the platform's chats, but it's looking like we're going to start with feature development to see what kind of good, juicy, crunchy features have been added in the last 4 years, and when. Oh. Good morning or evening. It is evening. We had an amazing NASA launch of Artemis, so I didn't realize that Artemis was launching this morning, but I'm hearing that it went well, which is great. Thank God it finally happened. Besides seeing more systems, you wouldn't mind seeing creatures in monsters added to the game. You'd like to go on a monster hunt? Oh, we just call those reefers where I'm from. Got jokes. I'm gonna turn the music down just a little bit here. Kind of loud. Sending my love out to Malaysia. Never saw me using it. It's awesome for your type of investigations. Yeah, I use it occasionally if I really can't find something, but we've got so much of the footage and stuff like saved up at this point that I almost don't even need it. But it is really useful when like I really can't find something or need something really specific. Thank you for the suggestion. We have like over 100 ships, and I know we have more coming, but what we need is a place to fly to now. What do you mean? You can fly to Krell 1. Isn't that all you need? Just a little spaceship, a space station out there. Perfect. Making stuff and players persist reliably between sessions and servers are my #1 hope for the near future. We're gonna need that matchmaking service though, right? You just want the quantum system to be implemented. That's literally it. I would love to have a functioning dynamic economy of some sort. We need lots of things to populate the planet, sprinkled all about to give more life to the areas. Thank you for lowering the background music. Like to hear you more clearly. No problem. Would like to see a ship designed to catch animals and monsters for sport. Y'all come into a space sim and you want to hunt. No hate on you. Everybody does what they want, but like, I couldn't even imagine going hunting. I guess at some point it'll be a thing to try, but I just never even considered it until I saw people start talking about it. That's a nice part. There's always one of those things for all of us. All right, did this poll end? I think the poll ended. What was the, what were the results here? Let's see. Why doesn't it tell me the past results? Come on. Tell me the stupid results of the poll, Twitch. Or I'll delete you. All right, can't see the Twitch results because Twitch is annoying like that. So we're gonna go off the YouTube results, but I believe I saw Twitch leaning towards features, and YouTube is 75%, 25% features, and 75% of YouTube is about the equivalent of all of Twitch. So I'm gonna assume that's where we're starting. So the way we're gonna do this is I've got the roadmap here. I've got this little doodad thing. This is a super in-depth, super complex document sheet, and we're gonna go through each patch, look at the features. Y'all are gonna tell me how you feel about these features, and the significant ones we will put down. Very simplified. I am but one step up from a caveman when it comes to these kinds of in-depth analysis. So this is the best you're gonna get. So let's start with Alpha 3.1. 3.0 is not on here. Which had helmet polish and lighting improvements. Okay, this is like one of those features that came into the game, but I don't really remember it being noticeable. Was this the one that removed the outlines of the heavy helmets and stuff so that it didn't affect your view any? No, that was much later in the process, huh? So I don't even think that's really a big deal. I don't know what you guys think, but the character customizer, I mean, it's a big addition. I think it's important. Y'all can weigh in on that. I think the character customizer as its first addition is a big deal since you couldn't actually create your own character before that. Planet tech improvements, I don't think it's really something that we need to include. Ship AI to subsumption. Converting the spaceships to work with subsumption. What do y'all think of that? You hated the helmet outline removal? I hope it comes back, but it sounds like they were having a lot of problems with different aspect ratios for that. As an ex-developer, there is quite a few things that concern you with the development of Star Citizen that is quite frustrating, but quite a lot you're impressed with as well. Hey, it sounds pretty par for the course. Twitch said 16% for features. Okay. Mr. Tomato, you look delicious. Thank you. I am a plump tomato. How does one come to look so damn fresh? A lot of water, good soil, nitrogen-rich nutrients, a little bit of mineral water, and sunlight. But with sunscreen on it. Makes a great tomato. Ship AI to subsumption. I don't know. I think what we should look at here are... I don't even have a criteria for defining a major feature. We'll come back to that. Visor and HUD displays. UI updates aren't really a huge thing, I think. Ship weapon balance, no. Ship damage. Let's see, this is an overhaul of the ship damage system. This wasn't like the damage map or anything significant to the actual damage system, so I'm gonna pass over that too. No point of removing or using more lighter helmets now? Yeah. There's not, and I mean, of course they're gonna do, like different, gosh, what was I even gonna say? Oh, obviously there's going to be different amounts of protection for the heavier helmets. Sorry about that. But yeah, it doesn't feel like the light helmets really have much reason. To be honest, half your appeal is your magnificent. Keep using that magnificent voice. Also, you cover interesting topics. Keep up the good work. Thank you. As long as the content's good. That's what I hope. I hope the content's the best reason to be here. Merhaba, Amir. Thanks for dropping by. Baklava to all. May I bless you with baklava. If it is building blocks HUD and gets us away from the broken old Flash, then fantastic. Unfortunately, that was definitely not building block stuff. Hey, streamer, thank you for the 100 bits, my friend. I hope things are going well for you. I hope the power has been consistent for you. And I hope you've been able to play some Star Citizen recently. Okay, IFCS, this is just balancing and tuning. Personal Manager app. This was, could we not? Improvements and bug fixes for the PMA. So this wasn't even the actual PMA. Service Beacons Distress Call. This was the first edition of Service Beacons, so we'll put that in there. They've never been the most stable, but it's still a pretty significant part of the game in that you can use game systems to request help. That's important. I think that's going to be even more useful in Pyro, and hopefully we see another pass on this before we see 4.0. We'll have to see. Good morning, Jedi. Will the tractor beam be available on 315 with 318? No. Ship tractor beams won't be available till next year. Probably introduced with the SRV. Okay, and then we had ships. We're not doing any ships today, just features, so we'll keep going. New weapons. This is back when they used to have a weapons and items tab. Or they still do, don't they? I say used to. And then core tech. So 3.1, nothing really to see. 3.2, new armor, new flight. No, new armor, new clothes, new armor. AI behaviors in ships. This is just an improvement on AI behaviors, so we won't count that. Remotely operated turrets on vehicles. Was this... could we not do remote turrets before that? I'll add that in. That's fairly significant. Remote turrets is a decent addition. Quantum travel improvements, item kiosk shopping. Cool. Item kiosks were a good feature. Economy polish, mining. Mining was a big one. 3.2 was a decent sized update. Quantum linking, group system, ship persistence improvements. No. More improvements. Power allocation from item 2.0. Oh, Depa. Dropping that #1 super chat. Thanks, Deb. Good to see you. I'm glad to see you in the Discord too. Hope we get to have some more good conversations there. It's a business who's selling promises. It'll end up good enough for launch someday, but don't expect them to worry about time. No, that's fair. I think they are kind of worried about time because there's a certain amount of investment that they've put in at this point and some people they have to answer to, especially with things like the studio and stuff. I think they're very much worried about time when it comes to Squadron. So we'll have to see what happens after that. But yeah, they're based on telling people what's going to come. With the lack of content in SC, we need a podcast about Turkish food. Oh man, I bet there are some amazing podcasts about Turkish food. But I also don't think there's a lack of content in SC. I always have plenty of stuff. Thanks for the love, Ken. Thanks for asking. Yes, our solar is officially operational, so we got power, and my brother and I reached common ground, and I will be able to play SC for the event. Yeah! Happy to see you in IAE. Does your brother not play? You still waiting for the Hull series to come out? Technically, the first of the Hull series is out. You have at least that to look for, and then the Hull C is not too far behind it. Ken, you heading out? See you later, my friend. Have a good one. What advice would you give to new streamers and people just starting with YouTube and Twitch? Oh boy. There's a lot to be said about that. Geez. If you're brand new to all of it and you're getting into streaming, I would say multi-stream for starters. Stream to YouTube, Twitch, and if you've got the time, also Facebook. Do that for a few weeks and see where your community actually starts to pick up. And then whichever platform goes well for you, I'd focus there. But honestly, in my opinion, I think the best place to start at this point is YouTube. Because you look at the different problems that social media companies are starting to run into. And I think the most obvious example of this is Twitter. They're all trying to figure out how to monetize users and make more money for themselves to operate. And I feel like the company that does the best at this, it used to be Twitch, but YouTube now seems to be the company that's focusing best on that. I mean, when I say Twitter is a good example of this, Twitter could monetize their users and steal a lot of revenue from places like Patreon or Ko-fi or any of the other earnings platforms. You have artists, you have bloggers, you have influencers, you have all kinds of people on Twitter who are releasing content on other platforms because that's where they can paywall it. If Twitter built in the functionality for people to paywall their content, then you would have no problem making some money off of people who are keeping everything right there on Twitter. That's what YouTube did. YouTube was like, okay, we're going to start streaming. We can monetize that. But at the same time, we're also going to give people the ability to do short form and long form content and let them monetize that too. And ultimately, you don't have to go to places like Patreon if you have a YouTube. Whereas on Twitch, you're going to have to have a Discord to communicate with people. You're going to have a Patreon or something to get additional support if you're looking for that kind of thing. You're going to have to use Twitter to post some of your clips or your pictures that you make or your screenshots. It's like when you use Twitch, you have to spread yourself out a lot more. YouTube is kind of inclusive. And like somebody just said in chat, I think I just saw. Yeah, Nip Nip said, I'm kind of shocked that YouTube gave me this recommendation. Normally it never suggests new streams. YouTube will just slide streams into people's recommendations. Sometimes it'll slide them into the playing next. So like there is definitely power to hosting content on YouTube that's always there, whether you're live or not, sleeping or I don't know, not sleeping. and also being able to go live. But ultimately I would say just, man, the music is still loud. Ultimately I would say just focus on keeping a consistent theme to your stream. Like, a lot of times my YouTube streams are very empty if I'm not talking about the game. If I'm playing Star Citizen, YouTube streams are quite empty because that's what people are used to seeing from my streams and videos. So it kind of like the platform will continue to emphasize that you should stick to that kind of consistency to do better. That's my short and to the point of how you can start out streaming. Elon's already having paid for videos on Twitter enhanced member subs. I mean, they could have. I don't think. I mean, he could have had a better rollout. But ultimately, I think Twitter has missed that kind of opportunity. At this point, it's going to be a long, hard journey for them to make it back to relevancy when it comes to people being able to trust that they can make a living there. because they've shown that they can like switch stuff up by the day over the last few weeks. So I think that's going to erode people's confidence. Woody Bear. A little Star Citizen themed bedtime story. New to the game, and loving your channel. It's very helpful. I've been asking everywhere, but I can never find an answer. Are the hangars featured in the game packs still a thing? They are a thing, but we don't actually have them yet. Can actually, real quick, let me duplicate this. There is, I believe, an item on the progress tracker called personal hangars, which would be what you are referring to. Let's see if that pops up. No. So the next best thing then would be persistent hangars, which are here. Those hangars that you're asking about will depend on this task. As you can see, it started back in 2021, Q2, and it went and is planned to continue into mid 2023. Probably will go longer than this. Never trust the progress tracker. And then after that, they would start to work on personal hangars. So I would say we won't see them until 2024 at the earliest. But they are still planned. Will the GeForce GTX 1660 work for SC? Honestly, I would check out 10 Pound 42 on YouTube if you're interested in those kind of questions. I don't know the best stuff that can run this game. But anyways, I've gone enough rants, enough weird segues into nothingness of discussion. Let's get back to this. What other features came out in 2018? Believe I touched on mining. Yep. Power allocation. I think that's what we were on. Functionality for ship components, allowing for weapons and other items to overheat and be overclocked, as well as the ability to configure shield generators, power plants, weapons, and other systems to meaningfully affect ship performance. To be honest, this is a big feature, but I don't think it was implemented in a way that made a big deal. So I'm actually going to not include it here. Sacrifice me if you will, but I don't feel like it deserves to be on this list. That's it for 3.2. Let's look at 3.3. We got a mission giver, which is a big deal. We'll say in 3.18 we got mission givers, although they were all broken. So does that really matter? We'll keep them in there. It was additional content to play. We got small rest stops, which were the very first version of space stations, right? Like, space stations is big. That's content. Let's see. Improved AI behaviors again, improved AI combat, improved. We're just going to ignore AI stuff. Okay? Because, you know. Ship system degradation. This is another part of that same item process that happened in 2018 that I feel like, yeah, you added it, but it's like not adding major content yet, not until we get resource management. So skipping over that as well. Don't know if you guys agree. Scramble races. We talked about that last stream. This was a very failed attempt at doing racing. And I think the best thing to point to when you see that we're getting new races and courses in the game and people come out and they're like, why are they focusing on racing? Racing's not important. That's dumb. Like, you can see that racing's been a big deal to them for a long time. And they messed up at it before. So I think it's proper for them to come in and redo it in the proper way. Although I don't understand why we didn't get the Grim Hex race, but you know, whatever. Did I get it down? Did I get the PTU downloaded? No, I did not. Yo, I'm really excited for races having leaderboards and watching the competition of those leaderboards go up and down. I would love to be able to, oh, excuse me. I would love to be able to access those leaderboards from like the Mobi-Glass or maybe some kiosks around the city. Bring that competition into the game and make it persist throughout the universe so you can feel more like we're more connected with the, you know? If you're a racer, you don't really get to see dogfighters or bounty hunters. If you're a cargo hauler, you don't know that there are people out there exploring. But the more we get to see the signs of those things happening, the more it feels like an MMO. It feels like you're actually part of something. So I do hope that with the races and the leaderboards, they start to display those in other places and pull the rest of us into it as well. The more you watch the development of this game, the more parallels to GTA Online you see. Cargo runs, griefers, now racing. I mean, it's, yeah, online games, man. They got to make sure to have all the basics. I would say for a space sim, you're not ever going to be considered a space... Okay. I think the basics of a space sim are some form of cargo hauling, some form of combat, some form of being able to find things, whether you call that exploration or not, and factions. Racing, I wouldn't say is a necessity, but I can imagine it being in a space sim. But like cargo hauling is, who's trying to do a space sim without cargo hauling, right? Racing helps optimize a lot of stuff. I do hope that it leads to more criticism and focus on the flight model, especially the in-atmosphere flight model. We did kind of get the Grim Hex race. They moved it off to the side a bit, which is like, why did we get this Grim Hex location 2 years ago? Put it there. I know it's laggy. I know it's going to cause trouble and stuff, but like, that's something that should have been thought about when they were doing the Grim Hex stuff, you know? Would be neat to see orgs have a way to sponsor races with leaderboards. Oh, I'm sure it'll be. Orgs are already sponsoring the Daymar Rally. If they don't do it officially in game, it'll still happen out. Yeah, racing is one of the oldest things you could do in the game. Which again is like, why are y'all freaking out about them focusing on racing? They have choreographed their moves on racing. All right, continuing to go. Improvements to retrieval and delivery missions. We're ignoring improvements features. We don't need that. Ain't nobody got time for improvements. Your improvements. Give me missions. Look at this. FPS combat missions. Implementing FPS combat missions to allow players to engage with enemy targets on the ground or in ships. Okay, FPS missions. Isn't it crazy that like that was a feature? It wasn't just there already. Asteroid mining, we've got that included. You know what? Should we put in... Should we specify that this is like planetary mining and asteroid mining? Because those are... How about we say ship mining? And then we can specify ground vehicle mining and FPS mining. You guys okay with that? You agree? Too bad. It's my stream. I choose. No, actually, though. Tell me if you're not okay with it. It's okay. Do you still use your Tobii eye tracker? So I have thought it was gone for the longest time. And then I found out the other day that apparently one of our family members here had just removed it from a suitcase and put it somewhere. So we just didn't know where it was for 6 months. So I have not been using it, but oh boy, I'm so excited to use it. And then on top of that, I'm also thinking about getting a VKB stick next year that I can combine with my X56 back in the US. So I'll have HOTAS, eye tracker, and I'm talking to a friend about possibly getting some computer parts. So I might have a better setup next year. I just got to raise some money for that joystick. But yeah, I'm starting my eye tracker again. I'm super excited for it because it is so helpful playing this game. You like that, Sketchy? Can you buy currency for Star Citizen? Because if so, they might not be able to add gambling without it being banned. Yeah, I don't think they're going to add gambling. You can buy currency. Honestly, the thing I want the most at the moment is a complete overhaul to the star map. That would be great. They've been talking about it a lot. Whatever they come out with for the star map sounds like it's going to be a pretty big deal. I actually want a HOTAS, but I'm going to stick to a HOTAS for now because I already have a throttle. Okay, let's get back to the system at hand. So we also got ship scanning and ping. A streamer, thanks for the bits again, my friend. Much love in the chat, dude. I hope you enjoy IAE. I hope you get a lot of fun out of it, especially because you gotta skip streaming so much this year. Want a VKB from SMB? Love it. Ooh, that's a nice win. Holy crap. Will admit the racing tracks are quite exciting to you. Hey, that's good to hear, Aaron. Glad to hear you enjoy something. All right. Shipboard, ping, and scanning. God, it was not a good implementation, but it was put into the game in 2018. So we'll include it. Group system improvements, improvements to turrets, item kiosk improvements, new ships, and new weapons. Object container streaming. That was a big one. For those of you who weren't here for the early 3.x days, 3.1 to 3.3 were misery. Absolutely terrible. And object container streaming did a lot to help with the FPS back then. Ooh, Ken, thank you so much for the HOTAS super chat. That's going straight to VKB. Thank you. GTA, you can buy cash and they still manage to do gambling, and shark cards are awful. Gosh, if there's gambling in this game, I feel like that's just not gonna, like, that won't help to build the audience that we're interested in. Like, it'd be cool for the people who are already playing the game, but once you bring in gambling and the ability to actually make money, and that's like, look at all the people who are obsessed with making money playing video games. It's all NFTs, says the guy who makes money playing video games. Okay, what else is there? Network bind calling. That was pretty good. But I'm going to group that in with object container streaming, to be honest. This was all kind of one big group of core tech that came in. So that's 3.3. 3.3.5 is Hurston and all its stuff. So we'll just call that Hurston and all its stuff. In-game gambling is pretty regular thing for MMOs as long as you can't take it out of the game. Jeez. That sounds really iffy. Ace, yo, thanks for the 45 bits again. All that love going into that VKB, huh? And then basic core tech. So this was basically just the Hurston patch and a mission giver. 3.4, December 2018. More mission givers, more armor, Loreville Business District, smooth locomotion, mining improvement, ship item rental. Patrol mission improvements, player interaction improvements, scramble race improvements, lots of improvements. That's kind of how the Q4 patches were for a while. They were just polishing up the major patch, which was the third one each year. But yeah, all of this stuff doesn't really matter. All right, onwards to 2019 now. What's the total death count in the corner? That is how many times I've died while playing the game. I always forget to take it off for these. Don't mind that. I also realized that I didn't even... let's see. Death counter. Get out of here. Bye-bye. Yeah, that goes up every time I die in the live game or in the PTU. And as you can see, I've died a decent amount. Although that's since the beginning of the year. And this has got to be my best year in terms of deaths, because previous years I was dying like every other day. So I think putting the deaths on the screen has actually helped me be a little bit better, which is solid. There we go. I hadn't reset that. Okay, back to... You had your mom buy you the Warthog HOTAS. It's so fun to use. Warthog's pretty cool. Very, very nice design. A lot of quality feel to it. Uses a lot of metal. And you know what they say about metal? Love to have a discussion with you about how crypto is the best choice for in-game currencies. Woo, that's a big discussion. Personally, I don't like the idea of things in games having out-of-game value. I know that's the way that we're headed. But I just think that kind of muddies up the reason for playing the game. I mean, even something like that, even if a game is super stream heavy, like a game like Among Us that gets really, really common or popular amongst streamers, and people see it as a good way to keep up their audience and make money, that kind of skews the reason and way that people play the game, because they're doing it specifically to make that money. Cryptocurrency just like blows that up, right? Out of the water. I can't tell you how many people told me that I should cover Star Atlas, and the reason for doing that was, oh, you can make money doing it. I'm like, what? I didn't start playing Star Citizen to make money. Good God. That would be so disappointing. This game is the longest return on investment in the gaming industry. Hey, streamer, thanks for the sub. Feeling generous today. Well, I appreciate the support. Thank you. What's up, Cryogenics? 108 are rookie numbers. You got 50 deaths in the first 10 hours. Oh, my friend, I was like you. And then I took an arrow to the knee. Don't worry, I used to always die. It was part of the way. Okay. In 2019, we started off quick with ArcCorp, or as Mrs. Tomato likes to call it, Zorp Zorp, and all its stuff. After that, we saw, let's see, this is FPS collision avoidance, basic gunship behavior, ship AI, Star Marine, heat system, which again was added, but kind of not. This is actually going to be a big part of the video I have coming out this week. We're talking about the heat system and control surfaces and how the flight model in Star Citizen is changing. But I'm not going to put this on there because this did not have I think a quantitative effect on the game that changed gameplay for a lot of people. Star Atlas is dead now, being crypto crashed the other day. Company Star Atlas had most of its money filed for bankruptcy. I've been hearing like mixed things about what's going on with that company. Some people seem to be very enthusiastic, saying, hey, you know, this is a setback, but things are looking good. The community is carrying us through this. And then I see other people who are like, oh, this game is done for with the crypto stuff going on. I don't know. I'll give it a week or two for the information to filter out, and then I'll see what's going on. I hope CoffeeZilla does a video on it. If you wanted to invest, you'd invest. You don't want your gaming to fund your dinner. Yeah, it's stressful. Trust me. Out of game value is not mandatory for crypto internal privately traded. Hey, if there's no out of game value, then so be it. If the crypto is just a way for them to validate and keep track of all the currency in the game, then I don't see a problem with that. But like once it starts to pull in stuff from outside of the game and try to add value to in the game, then it gets mixy. Capitalism, a failed system designed by dreamers and has no failsafe, expects people to live up to the spirit of the system and not always find to screw it over and get an advantage. You know what would be really cool? I've always imagined, just like, now I'm not saying this is the utopia, this is the answer to civilization or anything like that, but I always wondered what it would be like if things were actually driven by well-being instead of money. It'd be very interesting. Like how you'd have to have rating systems and like just all this feedback to try and make sure that the most efficient way to make everybody happy was being made. But I've always wondered what that would look like. $100,000 ships are worth zero now. No investor would want to invest in this kind of endeavor. Yeah. What happened to Tony Z? Apparently he's got his head down. They talked about him maybe putting stuff into 318, but I don't know what it has anything to do with. Let's see. We had vehicle scanning improvements, AI distress beacons. This was a new mission type, so we'll put that in there. Distress beacon missions. That's new content. That's tangible. Vehicle radar 2, quantum system improvement, ship system degradation improvements. All these improvements, you can tell that they didn't have the tools to actually do things. This is what I keep talking about. We should be doing this the opposite way. All the stuff that didn't feel like it had a major effect on a list, because these kinds of things you're going to notice as we get further, it's less of improvements, and more of just actual additions, which is nice to see. Extended delivery missions to ArcCorp. No, and we've already had delivery missions. New ships, new vehicles, new weapons, new flight model. That's a biggie. New flight model. Projectile managers, good core tech. Not something we'll include on here though. And that's it for 3.5. Came to answer the title and the question in the title, no. See folks, that's a failing model. If you answer everything with one word, you won't have any stream. But I guess that's why I'm the streamer. Artemis did launch, yeah, and it was a success. Praise be. You have the best friends that tried to get you to hold space to take off in a closed hangar. How'd that go? NASA has great footage of the launch as well. Was it better than their James Webb Space Telescope's coverage? Because they really... they didn't even... They kind of could have done a lot better with that, I think. The initial kind of fanfare surrounding that. They didn't even say no to meaningful progress or treading water. Is it making meaningful progress or treading water? No. Projectile Manager made the game more playable for you. I'm mainly avoiding the core tech stuff because it didn't add. I'm trying to focus on the things that like you could see, and object container streaming is sort of a cop out in that instance, but you can't skip object container streaming. Okay, next up, space station exterior variations. No, ship purchasing. Ship freaking purchasing was huge. Because up until that point, people were like, yo, this is stupid. This game is literally, you can't do anything unless you're paying money. You can't progress at all in ships unless you're paying money. And that, they really needed to allow people to get ships in game. Glad that came in. That 8.8 million pounds of thrust reminded you of Night After Taco Bell. Can you guys take the political talk to our politics? Political talk? We literally just talking about economic systems. That's not political. It was a massive event. You watch it. What was it? What is this event? Oh, the Artemis launch. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta go back and check that out. Whatever was recorded. Excited for the Drake Corsair. Yeah, same. I wish I could have played it today. We had rentals before purchasing, but both were huge. Yeah, they came one right after the other, right? I thought I might actually miss that. Was that what this ship items rentals were? Because it just says ship items. It didn't say ships. But yeah, it was crazy. We got both of those. Actually, rentals came a little bit before purchases, right? Ship items. Rent items with REC. Yeah, that's not the rentals. Where were the rentals? I think that might have come after. Yeah, ship rentals were 3.7. Okay. So we can put that in there as well anyways. Believe there are plenty of things on the horizon. It's not due for maybe years, but it's better than Elite Dangerous that hasn't been anything in years. Well, I think what we're going to see from these lists as we go up is how much more significant the things that they're adding every year are. Although there are, I think, less. The patches aren't as big anymore, but the things they add feel like they're more significant. And there he is. Black market economy was the last major economy change I think they did. I don't know. Should we include the black market economy? No, this is just a silly idea. You'd love to see a gremlin helmet for pilots in the game, a big green cheesy smiling gremlin. That would be fun. Careful, Scroll Lords, you might tread on someone's immersion. Sorry, I had to. Vagabond, dude, it's good to see you in here. Am I excited to get that shiny red light? Oh, dude, the MSR looks so good in the best of show skin. As a new player, seeing things like salvage tractor beams, a new solar system, it all seems pretty exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. It's really nice to jump in, be new, and not have the saltiness of years past waiting for all of this. Weapon attachments. That was a decent addition. Did anybody say anything about the black market economy? Is that all the drugs we can never sell? It was the fact that you could start selling drugs. So the black market economy added the ability for them to search you, which is honestly quite annoying. It also added the ability for you to sell at no questions asked kiosks. Does that seem significant enough to be on this list? Ragdoll improvements, player jump, degradation improvements, system misfires, player carryables, transit, law. All of these are law system, actually. Yeah, okay, law system V1 is a pretty big one. We'll throw that in there. Law system. And then weapons and ships, client actor networking, rework, asynchronous disconnection refactor, distribution ecosystem improvements, harvestable entity spawning. Yeah, we'll add that in. Why not? Harvestables are like a thing. You can collect them. That's how we started getting to the point where we have relics and stuff. Yeah, you guys say black market economy? Okay. We got 3 yeses and 1 nah, so I'm going with the you can do drugs faster than you can sell them. Hey, dude. However you can benefit from them. Okay, 3.7, we got caves. New areas for missions. I'll give you that. Caves. Human AI combat. No. AI dogfight combat. No. Quantum interdiction. Yeah, that's a big part of piracy. FPS mining. Yep. We got the first inventory system, which was terrible. God, it was awful. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Harvestables were in 3.7. Okay, good to know. Ship rentals, we already got that on there. IFCS proximity assist, yes. Anvil Pisces. Ah, so this is when we got the Carrack, huh? Bandit Defender weapons, done with 3.7. Mission sharing, was that in there? I completely scroll over that. Ah, yeah, mission sharing is a good one. Inventory is amazing. I mean, even now, like even the inventory that is kind of rough right now compared to this one, you guys remember when it was just this really, really basic wheel thing? It was so bad. And we had that for a little while too. Would I say planets are a feature or nah? I'm gonna include planets just as being major pieces of content. If you're gonna add a whole planet and moons on them, and those planets have missions and stores and like the ability to spread out the player base, I think it's reasonable to put them on the list. So next we got Microtech planet. Here's the thing. So this is actually really good compared to what you just asked. Microtech came in 2 different patches. First, we got the actual planet, and you could just fly around it. They didn't actually add the city until here, landing zone interiors and the moons. So I'm just going to say Microtech was part of 2020 instead of 2019. But besides that, we had a new camera, no camera stuff, no rescue mission. I'm just going to add this in as the 890 jump mission because it's a significant mission. It feels weird, though, to put it on a list. I don't know. We'll come back to that. That one will be like a caveat. Put a little asterisk on this one. Should rate each deliverable by impact and importance to the game. Kind of doing that on the fly here. But it would be interesting to have an entire listing of that, yeah. Should all I would like to be able to sell more than one piece of gear at a time at a store. A nice sell all waste stuff, all extras. Nemesis. Sounds like a good time. I love melted ice cream. You started playing in 2019, need to add that? Yeah, totally. Vagabond Prime. Cool. Awesome. Number 16 on the list. Okay, 2020, we got Microtech and all its things. What else did we get? We got Prison. Blessed be. Super happy about that. Ship AI, 3D navigation, more ship AI stuff, contact list refactor. I remember watching the ISC on this. It does not feel like that long ago. Player interaction system improvements, no. Prison missions. That honestly is included with these. Player actor status system. That was a big one. Started getting too cold. Prison is a huge chunk of the law gameplay. Yeah, but I think the law gameplay partially is important because it got people to actually pay attention to what they were doing, killing other people, attacking people, trespassing. And then also the prison gameplay on its own added missions, added prison escape, and added a new location for gameplay and stuff. So I wanted to separate them. We are getting more prison features though, you're right. Yeah, being able to select multiple things in the inventory would be good too. Alrighty, player actor status, bounty hunter missions. Those are improvements. And then we have the new ships, weather locomotion. On to the next one. New Babbage shop additions. I'm gonna keep that. We've already got that with the first item. Grimhex improvements, nah. FPS combat weapon types, nah. Cover suit usage V1, nope. Bartender. Do I even? Nah. Player trading. Player currency trading was big. Holy crap. You guys remember how we had to pay for things before that? If you had a friend who did something for you, you'd have to make a beacon and they'd have to immediately accept the beacon in order to get the payment. This is ridiculous. So that was a really good one. That was a big deal. Updated targeting. That's an improvement to the combat. This is where I'm going to start to get a little bit confused because like some of the reworks that we've gotten in the last few years were almost big enough to go on this list themselves. Combat rework, inventory rework, targeting and stuff. And that makes tangible differences to the game. Just don't know if it deserves to be on a list like this. Let's see what it says. Fundamental changes to how targets are tracked on and off your screen with UI updates to improve the visibility of locked and tracked targets and the return of pinned targets. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's another one that I want to put on with an asterisk because we got the turret gameplay got a lot better that year. Let's say initial turret and targeting gameplay. It feels a little disingenuous, but we'll come back to it. Could make a separate list of reworked items, ships, and behaviors. Could do that. We'll stick to this for now. The magical asterisk will let us know. I'll even bold it. Did that bold it? Okay, the magical bolded asterisk. High-speed combat was a change to combat. Yeah, T0, T1, T2, all that jazz. But honestly, there wasn't really anything else here. Although I do believe this was the year we got Planet Tech V, technically like the first version of their finalized Planet Tech. So we'll say Planet Tech initial launch. That was the year that they decided it was at V1 and they'd start working on new things like rivers and crazy rocks and canyons and stuff like that. So I'm going to include that there. We'll go on to the next one. See, this is it, part of Planet Tech V4. That was like their big first edition. Updated geology, nah. Space station cargo decks. Ah! Yeah, totally so useful. The first version of the finalized one, yeah. Relaxation of armistice zones, nah. Force reaction, nope. External inventory, that was a good one. The first time we were able to actually store stuff and pull stuff from other vehicles and things like that. Improved throw, nah. Ships, weapons, and buoyancy. Super cool, but I don't think it's that important. Stanton system improvements, spacescaping. You know, gas clouds are kind of a big deal. They don't add anything, but I think they did make the game change a lot. Like the space station areas without the gas clouds are completely different. Are you guys gonna let me put that on the list? Is that one allowed? Is CIG planning on adding the entire ArcStar map to SC? They are adding a similar map, not the exact one from the ArcStar map though. Added? Okay. 2020. Gas clouds. Yeah, I guess it was gas clouds V1. Like that was a big deal. Refinery decks were technically a new form of gameplay. I think I'll add that in actually. Refinery decks did change up the mining game loop a little bit. From there, we had some AI improvements, fire modes and whatnot, AI accuracy convergence, capital ship combat behavior. So this was when Xenothreat must have come in. Reputation, that's a big one. It'd be fun to add a motion tracker soon. Actually, I think it's a audible tracker, audio tracker, like a sonar, active sonar. When CIG explained parenting and child gas. Mining URE factor, countermeasures, torpedo attacks, capital ship and turret improvements, vehicle entry identification. That was nice, actually. Station-based refining, tractor beam. Tractor beams were a good one. Super nice addition to the game. Elevator panel updates, weapon zeroing, new weapons, and that was it for 2020. Obviously, a bit of a slow year. Pandemic did not help there. 2021. We've got stands and system polish, new asteroids, cave entrances, missions. Okay, we'll call these new delivery missions. Shield effects V2, mining subcomponents. UI for the system. Spawn closets. Those definitely helped make the gosh, they helped make the game a little bit better, but at the same time they were so bad. Spawn closets were a super good example of how they were releasing T0 stuff that wasn't ready for the content teams. So we got spawn closets, but nobody really saw them actually be used until later in the year. No, they are not making meaningful progression. What do you base that on, Martin? This is where you joined in the beginning of 2021? Force reactions are a minor feature, but they add a lot. You think force reactions should be on there? Hey, Axis. Force reactions on there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was good. That was a good stretch. Good stretchy stretch. Small iterations. You agree with the force reactions? Yeah, okay. If that's the consensus of the group, what was that? That was 2020? That was in? All right. Let's see, where were we? Oh no, that's 2021. I'm looking right at it. I'm like, what is that? The other year? Okay. After that, we had vehicle name and serial numbers, which is, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. Force reactions alter how you move about your ship while in transit. That much is true. I have not tried out the Corsair yet. I can't get on the PTU. First saw the game in 2021 and found the channel, and in 2022, beginning of the year, you installed the game. Cool. You came in at a good time. Before 2021, honestly, was... Yeah. Ooh, ship-to-ship docking. That was a solid one. Object push and pull. We don't really use it that much, but it is usable. Gonna have to head out in the next minute or two. Good luck with the rest of the stream. Thank you, Squirrel. Catch you later. Kinda agree. You've been hyped about a few things since, but was inevitably disappointed. Yeah, the hype can be misleading. Greycat Rock DS. Wait, when did we get the rock? Did I miss vehicular mining? I may have. I didn't even see the rock on here. Did they not put it on the roadmap? Star Citizen Greycat Rock. Let's see when it came in. Uh 2021, 3.13. How did I miss that? It just says the DS. I am confused. If we value our character's life, we don't push and pull medical stretchers. That's true. Protect yourself. Did I discuss the cutter? Looks like a great Drake starter to compete against the Titan and Nomad. I have not discussed that today. No. I think the rock was a surprise. So it must have been 2021 though. I'm assuming. No, because the Rock DS was the first update of 2021. So the rock must have been 2020. I'm going to assume then that vehicle mining was 2020. So I'll put that in there. Vehicular mining. Okay. Cyclone MT, Nova Tank. These are all new ships and vehicles. Not much there. 3.14, we got Crusader and actually not even its things. With Orison. They didn't get any new missions from Orison. And we didn't get the new outposts because we already had the moons. I actually don't think that Crusader really should go on this, but I will include planetary clouds. Even then, I think I'm gonna go back through this list at the end and refine it to decide the things that actually made a difference. Soft test is also a cool one they announced, but when they will they add the laser cutting tool? Laser cutting tool's in. It's just useless. Treading water for almost 5 years now. Interested to see how much they make during this next injection with food through the roof, gas prices, etc. I might upgrade a ship, but no new money. Yeah, if you don't have any money, don't spend it on this. Spend it on food and gas. Live a little. Adding tier 0 with more and more ships, having to go back to planets to redo work, and ships with every small bit added, it's snowballing the amount of work. Me and Astropub actually had a good talk about this on the podcast this week. And how adding some of the newer ships, they've gotten better at future-proofing them so they don't have to go back and work them as much. But yeah, they're in a tough situation of needing to continue to raise money, but also trying to build the game around those ships that they keep selling. You feel like ship development hit a huge turning point in 2021? They got a lot better at it. April 22nd, 2021. Really? It was vehicular mining. Okay. Then I'll put that on 2021. Surprising. I could have sworn the rock was around for longer than that. Medgun was in 2021. After being an SC fan for so long, you've learned to just enjoy the ride. It's pretty obvious it will one day be a thing. You stop caring how they get where they're a long time ago. Yeah, it'll eventually be something, but I mean, it's a while. Yeah, I think the MSR was like the first kind of ship that they focused on making sure it was up to a good standard. And it sounds like they've kind of stepped it up with the cutter coming out this year too. All right, power management was in 2021. That made a big difference. Radar scanning. I like how they're like implementing radar scanning and ping when we already had that all the way back here. But I guess it was a different kind of radar scanning and ping system. To be honest, I almost want to take this off because this was just for mining, I think. Wait a second. Did I accidentally exclude ship mining on the list? I did. This is supposed to say ship mining and scanning, I'm gonna say. Because that was literally just for scanning mineable rocks. So we take that off, and then ship, radar, scanning, and ping would go here. Because it actually started working in 2021. Hey, Sempi. How's it going? Where do I think the ever-expanding pool of money CIG makes goes? Expanding development teams? Yeah, I think mainly it's going towards hiring more people. They've been trying to expand the team a lot. Probably also some of that money is going into things like the overhead, the new studios that they've been purchasing, paying for AWS services, and like all that kind of stuff. They released their financials if you want to dive deep into it, but I'm not really much of a money person. You joined this week and your favorite thing has been the community. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Bliss. People like you make it more awesome. Thanks for joining. At least you can use ladders now and not get stuck. Ah! Take that, Bethesda. We got ladders and they work. Okay, get rid of this and back to where we were. Missiles. The missile system. Just call this. Are missiles even still usable? It'd be 4.5.1, then 4.9.1. 2019 was a busy year, and 2020 was a bit of a slow year. Definitely, yeah. 2020 was a rough year for them. They tried to say it wasn't, but I mean, just looking at the list, it kind of was. The ping was different if you remember you were sending some particles around you and it would detect things for you, but every ping would make you be detectable at quite a long range. Isn't that still how it works? At least that's what I thought the idea was. Yeah, this was missile operator mode. You're right. So this was the introduction of operator modes, which I think was a pretty big one, because that kind of started to get multi-crew working. How high are the monthly server costs? Oh my gosh. I don't even... They're running a lot of servers. I have no clue, like, what ballpark that would be in. Did I see the office last stream? There were 2 tables from Walmart, the folding ones with 3 pieces on them, and a dev that looked still to be in high school. I did not see the office last stream. I know that they are still undergoing construction, so they might have some temporary stuff like that. Oh, God, these freaking spam bots. LS Mufa, thanks for the Prime sub. I appreciate that support. Law System V2 surrender. Nope. Canvas sliced ship HUDs. So we'll call this actual ship HUDs. And then we got to ships and planetary volumetric clouds, which I think we already put down. Yep. Onwards to the 3rd update of 2021. We got hospitals. Actually, we'll just say we got medical gameplay, medical profession, Orison V2. I don't think that really added much for us. Doctor nurse behaviors, infiltrate and defend missions. .315 was rough. 315 was a big update. That was like one of the first big updates that I think we got to see. Local inventories were a big part of that update as well. Asset manager. Does anybody use the asset manager? Yeah, the surrendering I'm kind of just including in the law gameplay. I don't think that really deserves to be on the list. Personal inventory active feature, healing tech. That was the medical profession. Bombing, which like is a feature that you can use, but not super useful. And then we got ships, and they stopped doing weapons. No, weapons too. Medical tool and medical attachment. That's all in the medical profession. You use knickknacks? Yeah, the bots are really annoying, ZS. If I can remember what it is they say, I can usually tune them out. So like, since I see that says girls 18, if I take a second to go back to the studio, I can actually say that anybody who uses the comment girls 18 on my channel will get blocked. Problem is, it's hard to do that while you're streaming. All right, we'll throw an asset manager. Let's see. Hidden users, blocked words. Girls 18, is that what it was? And now that's blocked. Just annoying that you have to continuously update that. Oh, I keep blocking the bots, Frank. That's why you're not seeing them. Okay. Continuing on. I'm also gonna put here hospitals and clinics, because those were pretty significant location updates. If it was just hospitals, I wouldn't say that, in the same way that refinery decks were included with refining gameplay. But I think that the clinics themselves are a little bit more of an addition there, because you're changing the ability to respawn in different places, and regeneration and all that stuff probably deserves to be included in that. So I think that's it. Oh, loot. Holy crap, loot was huge. Loot was such a big addition in 2021. All right. And then the final one, we got derelict spaceships. Real derelict spaceships. Not those fake posers that we had before. Gravilev physics rework. You know what? Actually, I just realized I didn't include... Hold on. I didn't include the dynamic events. So I should probably put those in here. I want to say 2020 we saw... ...2020 would have been... was that Xenothreat, or was it the year before that was Xenothreat? Yeah, I think it was the beginning of 2020 was Xenothreat, right? Wherever there were the capital ship improvements, that's when they started with Xenothreat, but I can't find that. Anybody know when it was? I'm not seeing it on here. .12. Yes, there we go. Okay, capital ships. So 2020 would have been Xenothreat then. So 2020 is Xenothreat. 2021 would have been Ninetales Lockdown. And also would have been Jumptown 2.0. Was there any other events? Xenothreat, Jumptown 2.0, Ninetales Lockdown, and then Siege of Orison. Those are the 4 events right now. Okay. So, Jumptown, Hover Quad, Laser Trip Mines. Honestly, I'm going to say that, like, usable hovercrafts were also a thing, because they were just terrible before that. All right. So, that's 2021. Definitely a heavier year than 2020, and better than 2020, 2019 and 2018 as well. Just minimize all of these and move on to 2022. This one's going to hurt. This one's going to be painful. All right. We've got derelict outposts. We've got derelict settlements. So the new locations we got: space station clinic variations, new hospital, AI dropships, AI planetary navigation. I don't usually put the AI stuff on here, but that did make a difference. Coffee shop vendor, what do you think? Big deal? Something to add? Illegal delivery missions. Put those. Illegal courier. Derelict reclaimer space missions. New space missions. Siege of Orison. God dang, can you guys believe we've only had one update? Item selling. Ship to ship refueling. Mining gadgets. And then we've got the... rivers. Okay. And then on top of that, we'll just say, honestly, they're probably not going to even get persistent entity streaming in this year. It might go to open. Yeah, we'll count it because it's going to be on the PTU at least. Persistent entity streaming, Gen 12 improvements, salvage, ship salvage, hand salvage, 100 player servers. What else am I missing? The Gen 12, 100 player servers, planetary navigation tech. What are we seeing in 318 here? New derelicts, rivers, we've already got those. Cargo refactor. We'll say cargo physicalization. Sandbox prison missions. Proper security station. I don't know if that really counts. And what do we even call that? Orison missions, we'll just say. Time trial races, that's a big one. Time racing locations and time trials. Oh, come on. Salvage has not been one patch away since 2016. Get out of here. Are you crazy? Salvage being one patch away means we're seeing them working on it in ISC, and they've never been able to show it to us before this year. Be honest, you could probably pull up all of the times it got delayed and see how often they delayed it well before that. But I will say this, Salvage is the most delayed thing ever, and they kept dropping the ball on it. It was very annoying. Why are we saying they're stalling development? We're not saying that. Just doing a little bit of research. Salvage is a myth at this point. Vaporware. The rumor is they are redoing the AI side again. It's too broke to fix, so time for a new one. I don't think that's exactly what they were saying, that they're redoing it. At least not all of it. It sounds like it's mostly the combat side of the AI. Like the stuff we've been reading about in the monthly reports this year. Should you put salvage and cargo refactor in, considering there is a good chance it won't make it in this year? Yeah, I think salvage, the cargo refactor, persistent entity streaming, and Gen 12 are all based on the idea that PTU will be in the game in December. It might not, so we'll see. But you know, it's a couple of months back and forth on that. Just going off CitizenCon 2016 slide, you know? I mean, that was freaking terrible slide. Absolutely horrible thing to put out. But it was also 6 years ago. I love making jokes and talking about it, but there's no reason to base what we're seeing now on it. Your title is asking it. Yeah. Title is asking, are we making meaningful progress or are we treading water? So we're just doing some research on that to see. I don't think they're done with AI. If you look at the monthly reports, the amount of work that they're still doing on AI is pretty crazy. It's like some of the biggest sections of the monthly reports. Pretty sure Salvage was pulled off the roadmap just weeks before a patch at least 3 or 4 times. Maybe. I mean, it's easy enough to look up. Salvage delays. There's a really good picture that shows it. I don't know if they have the dates on there though. Let's see. So the first one was supposed to be in 2016. They planned for 3.2, which would have been, so it was okay, moved to 3.2 in April, or moved to 3.3 in April, which would have been 2 months before June. So that was indeed a patch away when they moved it in 3.3. Salvage moved to 3.5 from 3.3 in July. So they delayed it again. That was not the patch before. That would have been... No, that would have been the patch before. Wait, did they skip a patch here? I thought the patch, the second quarter patch was at July. So they moved it twice, the patch before. And then in 3.5, they moved it all the way to 3.8 in January. So that would have been the next patch. And in 3, when it was supposed to come in 3.8, they moved it to 3.10. That would have been September. So that was 2 patches before. And then when it was supposed to come in the mythical 4.0 in Q2 of 2020, they delayed it back in 2019. So they usually delay it like 1 to 2 patches beforehand, yeah. Salvage T0 added it for 3.15 and got delayed in January until Q3. And then again got delayed in May from that Q3 patch into the next year. So I'd say they were half and half. Definitely those first 3 delays were a patch beforehand. Patch two patches away. I'll take that one. But still, I'll say this again, not a single time during any of those times when they were planning Salvage did they talk about it on the monthly report or on Inside Star Citizen. So I think it's reasonable to expect that it's closer than it has been before. I think next year will be good, even if server meshing takes most of the year to come out. God, let's hope it takes only most of the year to come out. At this point, I'm like, server meshing 2025. So be it. The back end stuff they're putting in now is a really big lift. It is. It helps to see some actual stuff that they've been talking about for years coming into the game. So we got all that stuff, I think. I think we got everything in here. So looking back at the list that we came up with, 2018 had 10 significant additions. 2019 had 16. 2020 was another slowdown back to 12. 2021 though was 23 significant additions, and 2022, if we see 318 go to PTU, would be 19 new additions. So I would say, like, besides 2020, honestly, it looks like they're staying pretty steady, if not picking up the pace. 2018 was not a very significant year. We got 3.0, and really the whole year was spent focusing on making sure that was stable. And you can see the same effect in 2022, where we're getting one major patch. 318 kind of has that same effect of 3.0. They're focusing almost all of their efforts on just making sure that patch works, so we get less features than we would have. And even in getting less features than we would have, it's still comparable to 2021. Or sorry, 2019. 2021 was definitely better though. Patches were rough, yeah. But there was definitely useful content this year that came into the game. I mean, things like item selling, loot, and the physical inventory are things that were added in the last year that changed the way that every player plays the game. Now you can sell things that you find on your missions instead of buying and, you know, just dropping them or getting rid of them, which is nice. I won't say that this is a quick development that's going on, but I would say from this very, very basic, incredibly basic look at all the features that have come up over the time, they're certainly not stagnating. Game has been pretty unplayable for the last few months though. Is that FPS? Are you crashing out? Or what's going on with your game? This kind of discussion is not your thing. Seems every day there's the same complaints later. That's fair, class. If you're not into it, that's okay. I will catch you later, my friend. People are just so negative about the game and it's tiring. It can be sometimes, yeah. Especially when like you want to just have a balanced discussion about the game and it's just bombarded with negativity. Trust me, I know very well. Literally, let me show you this. So this is the YouTube app. This is what I use to see like my own view of YouTube and how my channel is performing. And if you scroll down, it just shows you all of the most recent comments right here on the screen. So as soon as you load in here, you get whatever comment has come into the video most recently. Oftentimes they're negative. So I just like, you just get bombarded with that kind of negativity and you start to learn how to deal with it. But yeah, it can be difficult to have balanced discussions sometimes. I think that goes both ways. I've definitely had situations where people wouldn't let me talk negatively about the game without being being literally told I should go play another game. And I was like, that's not what I'm getting at. But yeah, I mean, the title of this stream isn't negative. It's just asking a question. It's proposing an idea. And I wanted to bring you guys along on the journey to go over this idea. Now, I was also going to go over ships, but don't really have the time for it at this point. I think we can have a generic discussion about it, but overall, I mean, we can actually scroll through here real quick and just see which ships were coming out at that time. Compared to other space sims, Star Citizen is putting out the most new content and features. It is unfinished. Star Atlas is not doing well, yeah, from what I've seen. Aren't they changing every year? 1 year focusing on Squadron and next year on the open universe? No, they're all in on Squadron. Not all in, sorry. They're focusing on Squadron until that game comes out. You'd put 318 features on 2023. You would put 318 features on 2023. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see if they get it to PTU or not in December. I don't think they're going to go live, of course. But if they have it functioning in the game, then I'm going to include it on that year. I don't think Squadron's almost done. I think Squadron is at least another couple years out. I hope. Honestly, at this point, I just like... Squadron. Squadron hurts my bones. Literally just makes me pain in the morning. You think what hurt us this year is when 30K Monster came back, which is so disruptive. 30Ks did get worse again. Yeah, 318 will probably come out next year. They did say that PES was taking more work and devs than server meshing does, but you know, who knows what the heck, if that's like what that means. Should have been playing in 2015 if you think it crashes a lot now. Oh God. Remember 3.1 to 3.1 and 3.2? Terrible. Moving focus to Squadron 42 has had an impact as well. Stuff is getting developed. We just won't see it for a while. Right, and I think that delay is kind of finishing up. I think we're going to start to see more regular stuff coming now that they've caught back up to the Squadron development. Imagine how the devs feel. Yo, if I was a dev, I wouldn't even go on the public discourse about this game. I'd just keep working. Just doing my work, going home, relaxing, and enjoying my nights, and then going back into work. Don't really think this is a negative conversation. It's kind of sort of objective. Yeah, 100% objective. You don't have confidence in CIG to get 4.0 out in 2023? I don't blame you. I don't blame you with that. I hope they can, but they haven't really given me the appearance that it will happen. We'll have to see what happens after 3.18. The problem is there's more negative to say than positive at the moment. Delay, Squadron 42, perpetually 2 years away from answering the call. List goes on. But doesn't mean overall outlook isn't positive. I think there's more positive than negative, but it always depends on how you're looking at the game. I mean, if it's so much easier to view it positively if you are looking at development and not gameplay. If you're playing the game and you're in it and you're suffering from the glitches and the bugs and the instability, it feels a lot worse. Definitely. You think my stream is chopping up? Might have had a YouTube problem there for a second. I think I saw something pop up. It looks like it's doing okay now. Is there anything planned for 30K or crash to respawn back where you were as if you bed logged? That would be server meshing. Will hopefully help with that. You love this game, love playing and love following. Your criticism comes from some time spent in game. Exactly. There it is. Little picture issues versus big picture slowly coming together problems. I mean, there are some problems this game has that I don't know if it's ever going to outgrow. It's a love-hate relationship. It's an abusive relationship. Star Citizen just smacks you while you're down sometimes. They'd be like, oh, you had a glitch? I'm going to crash you out of the game too, buddy. Oh, there's a new update out you're super excited for? Too bad, now you got to install it twice. Oh, you want to get into a mission with your friend? Sucks to be you. 60 out of 100 still can't join the server. That's our SC overlord. Standing over us, causing pain. Locations are pumping out. They're doing way better at locations this year than any other. I mean, let's just look at what they've done. 2022, derelict outposts, derelict settlements, new space missions, Orison missions, racing locations, rivers. All of those are like new location types that we didn't get in any other years. In 2021, we got hospitals and clinics, derelict spaceships, and the Jump Town location. In 2020, we got prison and Microtech. I guess in 2021, we also got Crusader. In 2019, we got R-Corp and the 890 jump mission and caves. Like compared to the previous 3 years, we got a lot of locations in 2022, which is good because now we know they're not slowing down with it. They've proven that the Rastar tool, the procedural location generation tool, and what was that other one? Mighty Bridge are building out new points of interest really quickly for them. Did I include party joining from lobby? Did we include party improvements? We didn't include group improvements. I think those were back here sometime. Yeah, Firebrand, this game definitely changes your view on games. As crappy as it is, it still kind of keeps you coming back. Developing this game must be really hard. They're pretty much working with rocket science. Maybe unnecessarily. I do think it must be ridiculously hard to try and keep the game running live and also develop it. And I think a underestimated amount of money goes into making sure this game can continue running while they're developing it, and people completely ignore that when they listen to how much money the game's made. I mean, the fact that like 500 million is a lot of dollars. It's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. I think that they've taken in a lot of money and probably don't have everything that you could show for that because they've invested so much of it and they haven't seen the returns on that. But think big chunk of that 500 million has probably gone into making sure the game is playable, whether through QA or customer service or server costs or just like the overhead of people who are running the actual live game. That must be a decent drag. You're excited to see these new underground facilities? I look forward to seeing what they can do with them. I really hope that they're multi-use locations and they're not just, oh yeah, we've got some new places that you can come run the same FPS missions in. Next year is going to be a steady stream of content. I'm very, very interested in what happens next year. I'm going to make a looking forward to the next year kind of video at the beginning in January. I'm also going to do a Citizen Central where we talk about what we think will happen next year. Also, I think I'm going to have Salty Mike on for a podcast where we talk about that stuff. But I'm like completely, I have no idea what's going to happen next year. Are they going to do 3.19? Are we going to get 3.18 1 through 4? Is 4.0 going to suddenly actually make its way into the summer of 2023? Like, what the heck is... Are any of those things going to happen? 500 million ain't nothing when you have 700 plus employees, have to rent servers and buildings for years. Yeah, it's a lot of extra stuff going on. As a dev, you're guessing keeping the game running while in dev is at least 1/3 to 1/4 of the dev time. Not even the money, but the dev time itself. I mean, you can see it with how much the developers have to respond to us in the servers and clarify things in the game and talk about changes they're making. How much of that would be unnecessary if they were just building it themselves? All that messaging would just be between them and QA in the same office building. Making your own mocap studio kind of flies in the face of the vision, but hopefully they use it to make money to tenting it out. Yeah, I think like making a mocap studio makes sense considering how much mocap is going to be in all the Squadron 42 games. But making it the biggest in the country seems a bit much. And I do agree with you. I hope that they rent it out and they can make some money back on that. You're very confident that CIG are building at momentum, building great momentum now that they have built foundational tools and assets to move more things on. This is going to be an interesting list to come back to in 2 years, because a lot of content has kind of been blocked up by things like server meshing and PES. Not to the point that like the developers are coming out, working on the stuff and then saying, okay, it's all done. We'll let it sit here until server meshing is out and then we'll launch it all together. It's not going to be like a big wave. But I think that persistent entity streaming and server meshing will let devs work on things they couldn't even think about working on before. Thanks for the 100 bits, Flaky. Mocap is very expensive when you outsource it. Great! Sounds like CIG can get people to outsource mocap to them. You kind of glad the graphics were worked on so much as the patches come. You don't think anyone will be calling it low quality in that front. You'd be surprised, Fish. Now, I don't really take people seriously when they say it, but a lot of people will be like, Star Citizen's falling behind graphically. It doesn't look good anymore. They're going to get left behind and Unreal Engine 5 is going to make everybody forget about the game. And I'm like, bruh, they haven't even finished the rendering engine. Like, forget the fact that the graphics are fine, especially for an MMO. They haven't even finished the rendering engine. How can you possibly know what the game's going to look like in a few years? Lighting, actual, like FPS, all this stuff is going to be completely different. Not completely different. I'm not a doctor. I don't actually know. But it's going to be different. I mean, we've seen what things like Vulkan implementation can do to games like Doom 2016. We've seen how ray tracing can change stuff like Cyberpunk and Metro Exodus, or Exodus? Yeah, Metro Exodus. We know that DLSS and FSR can help people with resolution stuff. Like, there's just ridiculous to complain about this game's graphics at a time like right now. Starlight, thank you for the Prime sub. And thanks for the follow. Welcome to the garden. CIG should shell. CIG should sell its engine for other developers to make different titles. Someone could make a whole game on just a single planet. Could you imagine if, like, gosh, I don't know, Star Wars? Like, what if, let's go crazy for a second. Let's go absolutely insane for a second. What if CIG kept on hiring people, became a publisher, and then had a studio that did third-party projects for other fictions? Ugh, they just used the engine and got licenses. Freaking Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica. Heck, I want to see a Magic School Bus. School Bus? What is with my School Bus? I want to see a Magic School Bus game on the Star Citizen engine. Let's go. Procedural damage to that school bus with those stupid field trips. Anybody else watch that? Catch you later, ZSM. Should sell seashells by the seashore. God, I hated that. Oh, Tron? That would be cool. Did the audio team ever finish that new exciting audio tool they were working on to fix and change audio on the fly? Ryan, that is another thing I would love to hear about and wish we could have heard about at CitizenCon. I'm actually quite surprised we haven't heard anything about audio stuff since then. You can make a fantasy game that takes place on a single planet. Yeah, you could do a lot with an engine like this. It'd be cool if they outsourced it. I mean, you put all this time and work into it, it would be worth it. But at the same time, it almost to me seems like they're going more in that direction I was saying earlier. I feel like they want to make games after or outside of Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. And I don't know how lofty those goals could be, but like, could this be a 1 game a year publisher, or like a 3 active project publisher who's trying to compete with, maybe not 1 game a year. I think this seems like the kind of company that would build more lasting games. But what if they had 3 active developments going on? This would be far in the future, 6, 7, 10 years from now. Star Citizen is good to go. It's bringing in money. It's doing well. It's healthy. Squadron 42 has released 2 or 3 episodes. Like, they've made a lot of money there. This is best case scenario. Companies at 1,500 employees. They're making good money. They're solid. And then they decide, hey, why don't we expand Theaters of War out into a much larger self-contained game that goes to consoles? And we develop that too. And they have 3 main projects going on all on this engine. They've invested so much into the engine and the offices, and they're expanding so much. I just can't see them finishing Squadron 42 Episode 3 and then being like, okay, 1,200 people work on Star Citizen. They could have infinite content for many years, but will they make enough money to do it? They got to find a good, reliable way to make money, and it can't be just selling ships. You think CIG already has those mechanics done, but they drag to release to keep funding the project. For example, the master mode already existed in SC. You can find in oldest videos 3 modes of flight. Yeah, but that wasn't necessarily the same. That was a fundamental change in the flight model that they did because they felt like, what was their reasoning? I can't remember why they took away cruise mode. But that was less a feature thing, I think, and more a fundamental sort of philosophical idea of the game and how people travel. I will say Quantum Boost is new, but you're right. They used to have 3 modes, or at least 2 different methods of speed. Star Wars licensure is getting around lately since EA lost exclusivity, and thank God for that. Seeing some cool stuff coming out. Yeah, this game will also create some really cool machinima. For what you heard, SC is just a platform to experiment on while they're going to work on third-party games in the future. That sounds like a heck of a rumor. No Star Citizen movies, please. Good Lord. Maybe more of like these short videos like the one they did for the MSR. They could add campaign content like every year. A Squadron? Maybe, yeah. At this point, funding a CIG is as much about empire building as it is Star Citizen and Squadron. I agree, but I really hope that they prove themselves soon. Like, they got to release something just to prove that what they're building is worth it. Plenty of us think it's worth it. We look and we play the game and like we decide it's worth it for ourselves. But I think for the greater market, the industry, I think they need to put their get their name written down in stone, you know? Other types of games like fantasy? Maybe. Y'all like fantasy games? I've always been kind of iffy on them. I like sci-fi a lot. Fantasy's cool, but never been huge on it. Squadron will make over $1 billion easily for them, you think? The games that have been coming out are rushed or lied to us about, so this will make massive holes for them to fill. But it's PC only. It's still pretty niche in terms of what you're doing. Like flying spaceships isn't necessarily for everyone. And a lot of people have already bought Squadron. Nowhere near the amount of people who will buy it after it's finished, but it's way too late. Go for a sub-based system. Yeah, no, subscriptions would be terrible. What you heard is that CIG is actually from an alternate universe and trying to connect the realms. Oh, Sam, might be onto something. Just hope they don't pull a Cyberpunk. They can't. They wouldn't be able to pull a Cyberpunk. Maybe with Squadron they could. But we know so much about it already. We need to get at least one finished product within the next year and a half. It's $500 million already, and the PTU content can get boring within a few weeks. I don't know about a year and a half, but I think having stable server meshing within a year and a half would be good. I think that could be enough to show people what's happening. Is it still a crowdfunding project? Yes. Technically it is, because the only funding that goes into the game comes from, well, the crowd. Cyberpunk is great. Y'all don't want to get me started on Cyberpunk. I'm totally fine with people who think it's a good game. It's for me, I don't like it. I'll say that much. I love what Cyberpunk is and was meant to be, and the concept of it and the lore of it, the characters of it, all of it. But I don't think it came together to be the package that I was hoping to see. And I think there are a lot of glaring holes in the RPG experience. Now your best game ever, now that it's fixed up. I'm happy for you. I really am. I do hope that the DLC that comes out is a little more my flavor. Or maybe a new Deus Ex, maybe? Huh? Eve has been dying for 10 years. It's a slow death, because it's still trending much higher than all the other space sims. Cyberpunk is a great game. You just have to play on very hard. 2077 was ruined because it was rushed, the exact opposite of what SC is. Yeah, SC is ruined because it's freaking slowed. At least the Cyberpunk on Netflix is very good. I've heard that. I haven't seen it yet. What do you think is missing from Cyberpunk? A lot of it is my feeling of having an effect on the world, I guess. My feeling of freedom in choice in design. So one of the big things that stood out to me, this is actually something my wife pointed out. They offer you a lot of alternate lines and text that you can say, but then you say it and it's like old RPGs where you say it, the person gives you a canned response, and then you go back to whatever you have to say to move the story forward. A lot of times that secondary statement doesn't actually end the conversation any differently or lead to anything differently, which is something we were doing on Mass Effect more than 10 years ago. A lot of times they just basically put a line out there for you to press X on. There's literally no other choice. They just put the line there to say, hey, look, this game's interactive. Say something. I'm like, it's a story. Say it for me. You're just making me do extra work for no reason. Another thing was that despite the focus on gangs and gangs being a large part of Cyberpunk and what that fiction is, there really wasn't that much interactivity with it. You couldn't actually become friends with gangs in the streets. You couldn't sneak through a gang's location because you had good reputation with them and they trusted you, even though you wanted to backstab them. Heck, a lot of times they force you to get into combat regardless or run away rather than to hack and find things out. Another thing was that the missions a lot of times were kind of straight lines. There are good missions in that game, but they showed us a preview of a mission which showed that you can ignore what the main objective is and go around the backs of people and get extra information and extra tools, and B, just have this really dynamic feel to the missions that I don't think translated to a lot of the other ones besides what they showed us when they previewed the game, which in my opinion would be like Star Citizen showing us Squadron 42 vertical slice and having choices and then going into the game and suddenly, no, you can't do that. You're in a military campaign. Don't do that. Like, show us what we're going to get, you know? So those things sum up my overall problem with the game, which was just that it didn't really feel like it was giving me that freedom or creativity that they kind of touted a lot in the marketing. Besides that, it's a great action adventure game in terms of like just fun gameplay. Compared to Skyrim, it's not even close to dialogue having an effect. Yeah, and even compared to Witcher, the Witcher series I think did a better job at that than Cyberpunk did, and it really felt like they had to rush that game. It's a big rumor that goes around, and I kind of subscribe to it, but like they got Keanu Reeves linked in, and the campaign had to change, and I'm guessing a lot of the development went towards making sure that like it centered well and used Keanu well for that. So, you know, that's how it is. Do I feel like I have the same feelings of... is that the show, the Cyberpunk show? I actually haven't watched that yet. I haven't really looked at the marketing. I don't follow anime that much, so my interest of it was solely because it was Cyberpunk, and because of that, I haven't really watched it yet. But it's not a game. Oh, the game? Oh, you're saying if I didn't follow the marketing and development. If I went into it completely blind and I didn't know what it was, I think it would have depended on how they sold it to me. Because up until the game launched, I thought it was supposed to be an RPG. And then after the game launched, it felt like everybody was like, oh, it's an action-adventure game. If somebody told me it was an action-adventure game, I'd be like, okay, cool. But at the same time, some of those things, like I mentioned, like forcing you to click through dialogue, even though you're not making any difference in the dialogue, feels a little bit wasteful. Multiple choices is cool, but an overrated feature. Not every story has room for multiple meaningful endings. Right, but in that case, don't go for it then. Because Cyberpunk tries to do that, but then they don't fulfill it. I'm saying you either go one direction and make sure we know that we are playing your story, or you let us play our own. You went in blind and played it at 1.5. Oh, that was a good idea. The only anime aspect on Edge Runners is really the art style. The way the story is told and how the characters act are very westernized, which is something I appreciate. I'm going to check it out at some point. Maybe on my flight this weekend. All that was cut when crunch happened. And there lies the problem, really. It just didn't meet... I don't think it could stand on its own 2 feet as a true successor to the Cyberpunk tabletop RPG. I think if it was its own franchise, it probably would have done better, because those are big shoes to fill. But going back to the topic at hand, folks, what do you all think of this list? I kind of gave my thoughts on the balance of features, and again, these are the major features. These are not everything. These are things like Vagabond Prime joining the game that we've marked down. But what do you think of this balance of actual meaningful features that came in throughout these years and the numbers of each? We got 19 in 2022, 23 in 2021, 12 in 2020, 16 in 2019, and 10 in 2018. Though 2018 was plagued by 3.0. Oh yeah, development for the last gen consoles does sound like it messed that game up a bit. You think it appears to have accelerated? Let me put a poll out actually to everybody. Do you think meaningful features have accelerated or we'll say. I mean, I don't want to say stagnated. The heck, didn't I block the word girl? God, I hate this freaking bots. Have accelerated or Jeez. I guess not. Have accelerated or not. Yes, we are seeing more features. No. It's the same amount of content. Yes, but it's not enough. Those are the options I'm going to give you. Those are weird options. Could just say yes or no. But we're more complicated than that. And I'll drop this on both Twitch and YouTube. Y'all tell me what you think. And please feel free to go off in the chat if you've got more to say than just a simple yes or no. Starting both those polls on either platform. Tell me what you think. With the way that we've looked at these features, do you feel like they're actually making significant progress in adding new meaningful features, or do these features still feel like they are same old, and not really moving the game anywhere? Purely the amount of explorable area and POIs have leaped up in recent years. Where did the babes go? Sorry, no more virtual girls in YouTube chat for you. How hard is it going to be to get all this stuff to work with server meshing? Well, they talked about that in the letter for the chairman, which, to be honest, going by deadlines should probably not be trusted. But we did see that they talked about the amount of work going into persistent entity streaming versus server meshing. So I'll read it here. For PES to work with the entity graph and replication layer need to be functional. In terms of engineering, this was the biggest technical challenge and required a fundamental reworking of how the game handles authority and state change of entities. In addition, a whole host of new online services were needed to support the replication layer and the entity graph. To support PES, we needed to create 12 new services. For server meshing, only 4 more services are currently planned. So you can see just how much fundamental tech for server meshing is in persistent entity streaming. As part of this, we switched to gRPC, which is an open source, scalable, Google-sponsored data protocol for online communication, and yada, 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 yada. And you can see here, persistent entity streaming took 16 months with 18 engineers, 3 dedicated QA, and 4 producers to make a minimal viable product work. So persistent entity streaming was 3/4 of the work needed for server meshing, judging by just the services introduced. We don't know what that means in terms of how much work it actually is, but it's definitely a major part of server meshing. Like, I don't think we should look at persistent entity streaming and say, oh, this took 8 months to get to a point where they could put it in the live game. Server meshing must take 15 months then. But I also don't necessarily want to say we can just assume that it will take the same amount of time as PES. So I don't think we can really quantify it, to be honest. Can't put a date on that. Maybe too slow for you, Rick Love. You think the biggest problem is the SC doesn't have a true competitor to keep pushing CIG to accelerate the development. They feel very comfortable of not losing players to another game or a space sim. That's for sure. I would say that every time somebody is like, why are you still following this game? I'm like, because nobody else is doing this. There's that answer might change if there was another game that was doing this, but the amount of work and effort it takes is clearly not something people want to take on. That being said, talking to a couple of the people who are working, not the producers and the directors and the people who are high up, but like a couple of the developers who have their head down to the computer desk, who are working on the big things like actual server meshing, replication layer and stuff like that, they don't sound like they're comfortable. Like, these people are working their asses off. Maybe not every single person, but the people who are working on this sort of back end stuff are in a heat death of pain over the last 5 months from what I've seen. Gen 12 work, server meshing work, persistent entity streaming work. The people who are working on that stuff, I do not envy them at all, especially because they've been doing all of that work during this crazy economic situation we're all in. So depends on how you look at it, I guess. That quote is what you were saying, Easy? One would hope they're planning for it to work with server meshing and don't have to shoehorn it in. Oh yeah, no, I think that's, they've always planned them together like that. Scale is the thing to consider here. At the scale the final game wishes to be, it is almost certainly better for them to invest time in making it easier to develop than developing it first. The tools, the infamous tools. Every time they finish something, it's one less thing the game lacks. Progress is progress. That's how I felt when they brought in player trading. I was like, holy crap. I've never thought about this feature, but I'm so glad we have it now. Because now we don't have to wait for it ever again. You don't think Starfield is a direct competitor? Nah. Starfield will not be a direct competitor to this, and honestly, not even really Squadron. Different kind of game. Bethesda's never really struck me as the cinematic type, not quite like BioWare or somebody like that. And Squadron 42 sounds like it's going to be very much cinematic space opera style. But the Starfield plot does sound grandiose, so you might be able to get similar vibes. Maintain they focused on flash rather than structure and mechanics too long. While it's getting better, that focus shows, and while the management got better, they are trying to make up ground in time. Yeah, BHZ, that's a super good point too, is like, this game has not been blessed with perfect management the whole time. Or at all. They've struggled on that front. Can we give a shout out to the multi-tool tractor beam? Big addition. That was a good one. The tractor beam is one of the few things that came in what felt like a tier 0 implementation and has just basically never been a problem. Tractor beam is an MVP for sure. My heart goes out to you, Tractor beam. You're a homie. Starfield is a solo game, yeah. Those ones responsible for the game's directions. Don't know if you made it clear. Hard for you trying to speak English. No problem, Rick Love. And honestly, it wasn't a direct reply to you. Just the fact that sometimes it does seem like they're not moving very fast, but some people in that company are working a lot. I'm not going to say a lot harder than others, but they're working in different sections, I guess you could say. They finished the art way before any of the tech. For the tractor beam stuff? Didn't let you repost your resub message. Well, thank you, Corbin, for resubbing. I appreciate it nonetheless. Ship dev is the moneymaker. You're right about that. Star Citizen ships will be in Starfield. Wouldn't that be weird? You just see like Starfield marketing material, but it's a Star Citizen ship. All right, folks. So like I said, we didn't get the time to go over ships. I do want to do one of these about ships. Maybe we'll do it late December or early next year, but we'll do another stream just like this. And instead of features, we'll look at ships, how many they've introduced to the game, how many concepts they've introduced to the game, and what that balance is. I have all these tabs here where we would be going over the different types of ships. These are helpful posts made by some Reddit users. They have the full readings of how many ships we have, how many unique hulls are for each maker. And then we've got the ships that have been made in the last year. Here we've got all the concept ships that exist and all of these ships when they were added and when they were introduced. As you can see, the ships from 2012 are 92% released, 2013 79, 2014 78, 2015 76. So like we've also got a good stream to be had talking about the ship side of this question. But I wanted to do features first, and so did you all, because I think features are the more important part. Ships will be interesting to see because obviously there's always that argument of they're introducing new ships and not finishing the old ones. What's up with that? What's going on? Are they ever going to improve that? So we'll do that again at another time as well. But that's it for today. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. I hope that this was insightful. I hope somebody out there learned something from this and maybe got to rearrange their view on the game's development, how it's going, whether it positively or negatively affected how you feel about the features happening. I try to do these streams. I kind of try to come up with these topics because I think these are interesting points of thinking. I think it's good to add context to the development and to talk about this stuff, whether it's good or bad. And it's interesting. So thanks for joining me for it. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me see what you guys said on the polls. Oh, Aaliyah and Jotin dropping that sub. 20 months now they've been subbed too. One of the names that I can just reliably see and fond memories. Thanks for being here. It looks like most of the chat, at least on YouTube, out of 62 votes, we had 78% said yes, the features are accelerating. 30% of that group said yes, they're accelerating, but not enough yet. I would agree with you there. Doesn't feel like they're accelerating enough yet, but we've got some pretty big milestones coming up in the near future that might push it a little bit further. On Twitch, we also had, looks like 75%, which was just 9 votes. Twitch doesn't like to vote, said that yes, we are seeing it accelerate. 2 of the votes said no, and on YouTube, 23% of the votes said no. So people are leaning more in the direction, at least based on this analysis, that more features are coming in at a faster rate. Some people believe still not. Everybody, I think, can agree that we're looking forward to it continuing to do so. So I am interested in seeing what happens in 2023. I think we've got some cool things to look forward to, and I'm excited for it. I'm going to go ahead and drop you all off with Bognagus right now. He's streaming, looking at the Corsair, unfortunately doing the PTU things that I could not do. Go in there, let him know we all say hey, give him my love, give him a couple likes, maybe a follow or two, and enjoy that stream. I appreciate everybody being here, though. Any last messages? A lot of good days and great streams. Thank you all for coming. You guys make the stream good. I could sit here and talk to the camera for 2 hours and I wouldn't know how good it is, but knowing that you all had fun and learned something means that we did okay. Skyrim was hot garbage, as was everything after it. I liked Skyrim. Not that much, but I liked it. Only 3 likes from 100 on the stream. All right, if you're on YouTube, maybe throw a like. Get us up to there. Anyways, folks, one more time, thank you so much. Make sure to check out the podcasts. We've got multiple podcasts coming out a week now. I've got a video coming out about the flight model later this week. Keep an eye out for that. And have a good day. Love you all. Peace.